heartbeat. Step in the spotlight, grab a seat. Join with wisdom to share. Each video crafted with care. The Jen Hardy Show, oh yeah, it's here. Soak up the sun with glitter and cheer. Shower thoughts to make you think. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Engage with minds both young and old, in conversations wide and bold. From life's big questions to simple joys, we're here with insights, not just noise. The Jen Hardy Show, oh yeah, it's here. Soak up the sun with glitter and cheer. Shower thoughts to make you think. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. The Jen Hardy Show, oh yeah, it's here. Soak up the sun with glitter and cheer. Shower thoughts to make you think. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Hello, everybody. And I was going to do a big reveal on our guest, and here she is because I was talking to her in advance. This is Penny, and I am so thrilled because she has done some really incredible things, and she's doing some new and completely different things now that we're going to talk about. So we're going to have a really, really interesting show. Things like you haven't heard. So Penny, we had a week ago, we had the warden's wife come and talk. And she had to be anonymous for safety reasons. But Penny is Penny. So you're really getting to know who she is. I want to recognize who we've got. We've got Martha and Lexa with us, and that is so exciting. So do you want to tell us a little bit, or because you know more than me about what you've been doing?
Awesome. Yes, I am. I retired from the FBI a couple of years ago, and prior to that, I was a forensic accountant for the FBI for 20 years, and I worked all kinds of different cases that could be worked. And in addition to being a forensic accountant, which many people haven't even heard of what a forensic accountant does. They know what an accountant does, and they know what they think forensics means, but to put them together is what my primary job was. But I had a secondary job in the type of forensic that most people are familiar with. Employees of the FBI have an opportunity to volunteer after hours to be on a team that goes out and collects and preserves evidence. So I did both sides of it for 20 years, and I loved my job. And once I had the opportunity to retire, I started moving around in my RV with my husband, and I serve creators as a CPA from my RV.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I love that. And we're going to talk about the forensic accounting in a little bit because we're going to have more people here and I want everybody to hear what you do. So there's just a select few people here so far. And so if you have questions, Bill Shepherd Dog, I don't think that you've been here before. So welcome. This is exciting. You've picked a really good night to come because we're going to talk about some really fascinating things. So yeah, Money Investigator. So exciting. And there's an Apple thing that we're going to talk about. It's very cool. And so Penny, now, well, maybe we'll talk a little bit now and at the end about the other thing that we talked about, that you're looking for people to do something right now, because I know I'm very interested and there may be one of the people that are in here that may be interested too. So, yeah.
Awesome.
With working with our children, because, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So right now I am doing a initiative to help moms hire their children through and use the mom's business as a launch pad for the child's financial legacy. And I'm in the information collection phase. And so I have a survey, and I'm looking for 100 moms who are business owners to complete my survey and help me do the best I can at crafting the service for as it develops for moms who want to hire their kids.
That is so cool. So if you want to, in a little bit, when we have more people, if or now too, if you want to put the link in there, in the chat. I don't know. Okay, do you know where I did not show you? So everybody, we just jumped in this call together. So we have not had a lot of talking outside of this. So you're going to hear us just have a little conversation while you're here too. So if you look off to the right, there is a little box that looks like a little, talk thing, and it's got 3 dots in it, and that's the live chat. So you can see that. I don't know if you can find that,
Yep. Yep.
okay,
I've got
'cause
it.
yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Because I use wave.video, which is not something that most people use. I really like a thing called AppSumo. Penny, have you heard of AppSumo? Okay. A little
From
bit of an
Heather.
Okay, I'm a little bit of an addict, and so, I get lots of software, and so some of it's great, and some of it, nah. Like Zapier started there, and Calendly like a whole bunch of big things started there,
Oh.
but then some things that have now gone out of business started there too, so, but I really I like Wave. It's been really nice, and, I paid once, and I really like that because otherwise it's $50 a month. Ugh. So, yeah, so it's a lot. All right, so everybody, if you have a question, do you have an FBI question? Do you have a financial investigator question? I feel like we're going to have lots of interesting questions. Um, what made you decide to go into that would be my question. I guess we'll
Yeah, that is a great question. I was a banker for a number of years and decided that accounting was what I really wanted to study. And while I was taking an accounting course at a local college, I went into the accounting office at this college. I went into their career office, and there was a magazine and said the FBI is looking for accountants. And who I had no idea that the FBI was looking for accountants. And I through the process learned that there are a few ways for accountants to work for the FBI, and one of them is a forensic accountant, which is what I did. The other way is that you can be a special agent accountant. So they're the people that arrest people and carry a weapon. I did not do that. I was primarily an investigator, and so I was able to review financial evidence and then build a financial case and then go into court and testify on the financial activity of the criminal.
Wow, that is so cool. I mean, not for the
Thank
criminal,
you.
obviously, but that is really neat. Oh my gosh. I don't know anybody that's ever done anything like that, and also and Heather's an yeah, that just makes accounting so cool, I've gotta say. I did
Thanks.
accounting. It was not my goal. I just kind of fell into it. I was 19 and I was handling $1 million a week for a Fortune 500 company. Should not have been doing that. I was not good at it, and, yeah, they would give me a really hard time thinking I was messing it up I'm like, "I'm 19. Did not go to school for this. What are you doing?" You know? Um, yeah, but then I left that place, so that was good. Okay, Dave wants to know Dave, she has done something with a really big name, but we're going to wait. I guess we can tell everyone here what the name is. We're gonna wait for a few minutes because 'cause I've heard that in about 5 or 10 minutes, people are gonna come more people. You wanna say what the big name is? I can say, it is
Oh,
Apple.
so I worked in investigation that revolved around Apple Pay, and I the at the time of the investigation, it was the largest Apple Pay case that Capital One credit card had at the time.
Really?
And it involved purchasing multiple iPhones, and people would, they had a very unique way that they committed the crime. And I was able to trace it all the way through from the initial compromise of the credit card to actually the payment that was made to the person who was committing the crime, payment made to his credit card, or I'm sorry, to his car loan.
Oh, wow.
So and it was a pretty complicated series of transactions that they did, and it all took place in Florida.
There we go. All right. So I'm here in Florida. There are several other people
Yeah.
that are here in Florida, so that's exciting. All right. Yeah, Bill, this is I'm very excited that you're here. I don't know where you're from. There are, I think, almost everybody that's here right now is in Florida. I don't know where Penny is, but you don't have to say where you are. Um, but probably the United States. It's some place. Yeah, Florida man. That's funny.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
So I worked for the FBI in Jacksonville, Florida for 20 years. So I'm very familiar with Florida. Not currently there, but
oh
I
wow.
we're
Go
Florida residents.
Hey, listen, okay, we've got people coming in. This is so exciting. All right, you guys, you are going to love this because we have got some. Oh, Michael K is here. All right, welcome everybody. You are going to love. Oh, Iowa. He's from Iowa. Okay, there we go. Okay, in the words, I wrote it down. We have a former FBI forensic accountant here. How fun is that? We're going to talk about some cases that she had, and you can ask questions. She may or may not be able to answer them, but she will answer the ones that she can answer. Um,
Mhm.
awesome. Oh, Washington. All right. We've got people from all over the place. I love it. Last time we had somebody from Tokyo here, which was very
So cool.
exciting because my best friend lives in Tokyo and I don't get to talk to her a whole lot because the time, that 13 hours is a whole thing.
Yeah, when we were first, my husband and I were first married, I went to the Philippines for work for 2 weeks. And at that time of year, we were 12 hours apart. And I said, okay, you get to decide. I will either call you at your 6 a.m. or your 6 p.m. because I'll be exactly opposite. And so every morning, I would get up at 6 a.m. and, be on whatever came. I think it was Skype back then. And
Yeah,
my husband would be getting home from work at 6 p.m. and I would talk to him every day that way.
very cool. Yeah, Dave and I think Dave, it was Skype, wasn't it? Because he was in Iraq when we were relatively within the first year of us being married. Um, Yeah, and that was always a whole lot, and thank goodness for Skype, because if it wasn't for
Mhm.
that, our daughter would have had no idea who he was, but she got to see him for 8 months, her first 8 months. She saw him when she was born, and then it was Skype, okay, and then, she saw him every day, and because a lot of babies, they don't recognize their dads when they come home. So, Emily's here, woohoo! All right. So, I'm guessing that American Courts is here, okay, awesome. All right. So, you guys, are you ready? These words make me so happy. This is Penny. She is a former forensic accountant. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget for the FBI. And she has a story to tell. And I made her wait until you guys got here because it's about Apple Pay. And I just think that is so exciting to I don't know, do do big things. Because I look at you and I think, you look like the girl next door, and Colin Raid, woo, legal fiction, woohoo. So, and here you are, doing these incredible things. So, thank you, everybody. Denali, Mike, I don't think we've met. Thank you so much. It's so interesting to talk to someone and then talk to people in the chat. It's a whole new way of doing things, but I'm loving it. Um, oh, okay. Twitchy Skitch. I have not seen that name before, and it's very cool. Oh, there we go. All right. So, if you want to do a little introduction again, because we have several people in here that you have not met, and Colin. All right. I'm so
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is an amazing opportunity. I love seeing all these chats going. And I am Penny Rose, and I retired from the FBI last year after working as a forensic accountant for 20 years for the FBI. And in addition to working forensic accounting, which is accounting where you go into court and testify about what you see, I also was on the evidence response team, which is a what we call a collateral duty, or it's you do your regular job and then you have an additional, you have the opportunity to volunteer to have an additional job where you go and collect and preserve evidence, like at a crime scene. And I loved my job until I had the opportunity to retire. And now my husband and I live and travel around the United States full time in our RV. And I have my own accounting practice and I support creators with tax strategies.
Oh, that's really cool. And then you have another thing. Let's talk about that too, because she is doing a project. Then you guys may be able to help her with research. So, yeah, that's exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. So, one of the tax strategies that I'm working on, my favorite one that I like to talk about, is for moms that are business owners. I call them mamapreneurs that want to hire their children to work in their business. And it gives an opportunity for the mamapreneur to build a financial legacy for their children. And I'm in the exploration phase right now. So I have a quick 3-minute survey, and I'm hoping to get 100 mamapreneurs to fill out this quick survey so that when I develop this service, the tax strategy service for these mamapreneurs, that I do it based on the actual struggles of mamapreneurs who want to hire their children to create this financial legacy.
So, yeah, that's awesome. Do you have the link for that?
Yes, I am trying to figure out how to. I have the chat going, but I can't figure out how to do anything but watch it.
So if you want to email it to me or text it to me, I
Awesome.
can put it up there. That'll be fine.
I
You
will
guys,
do that.
and
Thank you
while you're
so
doing
much.
that, I'm just going to say Legal Fiction just gave 10 memberships, and that was very, very generous. And Sparkle Boots donated $5. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And Dave, thank you for giving out memberships. Everybody is just like going crazy. So thank you. This is, oh, there we go. Okay, Denali Mike. Yeah, you can share it with your spouse. It's just, I mean, if you don't have a business, you don't want to fill out the thing. But yeah, see, I want to hire my kids too. And, part of it would be how do we convince them that working for us is a good idea? Lori Loves Law, you're here. Um, because, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to tell them if you work for me as a creator, I can teach you how to do things. And then you can be a virtual assistant and make $25 to $30 an hour. So why would you not learn the skills? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's interesting is there's so many businesses that you being an accountant that I'm seeing so many businesses that could last multiple generations in a family, and you'll see the oldest generation, builds up this amazing business, and then the second generation does very well at keeping it up. But more often than not, the third generation isn't interested in taking over the business. They're kind of looking more to cash out of the business as opposed to continuing to work in it and use that as a legacy. And so my thought is that if the children, before they are 18, are engaged in, seeing behind the scenes. I mean, they know mom and dad are working, but they don't necessarily know, what's actually happening and the changes, the positive changes that are coming about as a result of working. And I believe that having this experience will give them an opportunity to decide if they'd like to be the third generation that continues on with a business.
Yeah, and I know for me, oh, Jay, thank you so much. For me, I'm trying to set something up for my kids because I've got a couple on the spectrum, and so I'm like, you guys, start learning now because it you may very well become an C-level person, whatever you might, but also if that's not something that you want to do later, you can do this, and it's creative. So you don't have to do exactly what we're doing. Obviously, you might not want to continue the Jen Hardy Show 20 years from now when you're not me, but also, you know, you could morph it into something. So I love that you're doing this. I think it's really cool. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to share. Let's see, how did you send that to me? And I will
I
check it
sent
out.
it via email. The
Via email. Okay,
same.
there we go. Awesome. All right, guys, I am going to do this. Now, would you tell us the story? Oh, jelly beans. You guys are being so sweet. Oh my gosh, thank you. Um, oh no. I'm sorry that you have a bruise on your ankle, Mayor Wrench McNome. That is very sad. Um, so I'm going to put her link to that. So, and then she's going to tell us a story about an FBI thing because I think that's just so cool. So just so you know, I don't know if I think we talked about this a little bit. So everyone here, they like to watch court on YouTube. So they're watching trials and there's certain judges that everybody watches. And so I'm trying to get different people to come in and explain, different backstories and how things are and
Mhm,
what happens before it gets to court, right? And how
mhm.
this because I find it fascinating, and I think when I heard what you did, I was like, "Oh my gosh, everybody needs to hear this." So
Uh, well, and it's funny. I am so happy for this opportunity, but I'm also hoping that I'll get to come back sometime later in the fall because I'm no longer a part of it, but there's an amazing shocking case that's taking place in the state of Florida right now where I worked on all the financials and there's a podcast on the case that covers my work, but because the last subject is scheduled to go for trial in September. I can't. I what I gave you about that case is the most I can talk about it at this time.
okay.
But the case, the first case that I mentioned to Jen that I could talk about today was a cybercrime
Yes.
investigation, and the overall big victim was Capital One credit card. At the time, it was the largest case that Capital One had related to Apple Pay. And the criminals were using cyber crime to get information, credit card numbers, and the telephone numbers of the cardholder victims and call in to Capital One, pretend that they were the cardholder victim, have Apple Pay authorized for that credit card, and they went to they found out what because they had the information. They went to the county in Florida where the cardholder victim lived. So they were traveling all over the state of Florida, and they went to a well-known drugstore chain and were able to use the Apple Pay to buy gift cards. And then they took that gift card to a well-known Florida grocery store and turned that gift card into a money order, and then they deposited that money order into a bank account and then used the money and that bank account was in their name, and that's how they got started to get caught. And then they used the money from that bank account to make car loan payments, and so that's money laundering. And
Yes.
so it's using cybercrime started the that was the base of how they got the information, but they were able to turn that information that they got from cybercrime into cash that went into the bank account and then use that bank account to make payments on a credit card. And there were three subjects out of the Miami area, and all three of them eventually confessed and explained how they did what they did, and they've all been since convicted.
Yeah, that is a lot of work. That is wild. I mean, that is so many steps.
I
Yeah,
know,
I know you didn't come in
can
as
you can you imagine if they just got a regular job?
right?
It'd be so much easier just to get a regular job. It's a lot of work to be a criminal.
Oh my gosh. So, can we like, how did people figure out what was happening? Because that seems like a lot of steps.
Well, what's funny is that to us, it was odd that a cybercrime agent in our office um, was a victim of this criminal organization,
Ah,
and and it just happened that he ended up being one of the primary investigators on the case. But originally, what came to our attention and how we kind of put it all together was that for some reason, an individual from South Florida was pulled over in Northeast Florida with 500 brand new Apple iPhones, and couldn't explain how she had purchased 500 Apple iPhones, and what she was actually doing with them. And it that was one side of it, and then the other side of it was that it had been reported by Capital One credit card. The investigators had come to the FBI and said, hey, we know we are the victims of large numbers of fraudulent transactions happening at this one particular drugstore name. And they have really good, that particular drugstore chain has amazing surveillance video, and we were able to get tie up the actual ApplePay transaction with video of the person making the transaction, and get they had some outside surveillance so we could see a car pull up, and we could figure out who they were. Yes, exactly. 500, like, just, a 17-year-old girl driving around with 500 iPhones does stand out, doesn't it?
and you figure, yeah, if they're $1,000 a piece, that is a heck of a lot of money in iPhones.
Hmm.
So, wow, there we go. You gotta buy gold with the gift cards, right? Well, I if it yeah, I mean, they really yeah, put it ended up putting it in their own name, which is I don't know. So, ooh, Logical
That's
Nico.
where
I don't think I've seen you here before either. That's exciting. So, yeah, that's wild. And you tracked it.
Mhm.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to be able to it was a new type of investigation for me, and to be able to say, well, is there this information there? And then go on to the next phase. Is there this information there? Is there this information there? And it all worked out, and it's in the end, I won an award for my investigative work on that case.
That is so cool. Wow.
Thank you.
Alright. Do you all have okay, wait. Oh, there's so many comments. I'm trying to I don't know where I'm yeah, very far behind. Alright. Do we have questions? Do you have questions? Um, oh, yeah, thinking well, when you're 17, I feel like you think you're not gonna get caught. You think you're so brilliant, right? Um, fun fact about jewelry. Yeah, I inherited some jewelry, and do you know what you get for jewelry? Absolutely nothing. So people that steal jewelry and they try to make I don't even understand yeah, like you make $5 for something that's $1,000. It's really crazy. So that's definitely not where they're gonna okay, so how does someone possess and they don't rob an Apple store, right? And no one raised a red flag when that transaction happened, right? I mean, yeah. So that is a question. Did they steal the iPhones or did someone pay for them?
Someone paid for them.
But I get
And at that time, I don't even know how you would I mean, remember there used to be, shortages of at one time, there'd be like a new iPhone would come out and there'd be long lines of people
Yeah.
waiting to get
So,
one.
is
So,
even a company, that's a lot for a company. All right. Well, wow. That's incredible. Okay. So do you have a look, everyone's like, "Oh my goodness." So do you have another story that you can share? I know there's a lot of things you can't because,
yes, I have another story ready for it.
Okay.
I what so that was a cyber investigation. The other story I can talk about was I worked a foreign counterintelligence investigation, and that particular one, in the end, the individual that was ultimately convicted decided to go to trial. So I got to testify in open court, and so it was a very cool case. But it was a U.S. naval officer stationed at Naval Station Jacksonville, and he was of Chinese descent, but he was, in the United States Navy. He was an American citizen, and his wife was also of Chinese descent, and but he maintained contact with a Chinese intelligence officer and lied that he had maintained contact with that officer. And the Chinese intelligence officer would come to the United States and want to. He asked the naval officer to buy a gun, and had the intelligence officer's name engraved on the gun. So it was a little bit difficult to say that those two weren't related. And because, as I mentioned earlier, I was on the evidence response team, I was actually coincidentally the person who actually recovered the weapon from a storage unit, and they they created a in addition to the weapons violation. So all of that is illegal to 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 buy a gun that's intended for a Chinese intelligence officer and say you're buying it for yourself. Um, but they created a company, and it made the naval officer's wife the owner of the company, and the Chinese intelligence officer created a contract with the wife's company and paid her to, in a sham business. There was no business. He paid her, quote unquote, to provide a service, but it was just a way for them to funnel money to the naval officer. And so those are three of the things that he did. And as the naval officer at the level that he was at, he was required to disclose information. And so I got to be there at trial, where the person the naval officer who interviewed him through the process where he should have reported it was one of the people that was in the witness room with me, and she testified that she specifically asked him if he had any contact with Chinese intelligence officers, and he said adamantly that he did not. And so I had an opportunity to testify on the financial transactions where he bought the weapon, and then the additional financial transaction where he paid to have the name of the Chinese intelligence officer engraved on the weapon. And there were some travel transactions where they were able to show that the naval officer traveled to a location, and the Chinese naval officer, or the Chinese intelligence officer, traveled to the same place. And I was able to testify on that. And when I was done speaking, when you're testifying in open court as a witness for the United States government, you are initially questioned by someone that you've been working with for a long time, the United States prosecutor. And then when you're done, you are often worried that the defendant's attorney is going to come up and ask you a lot of hard questions that you're not going to know the answers to, and try to trip you up, or expose something that you don't know everything about, because it's coming out of nowhere. And so this particular case, I could hear the conversation between the subject and his defense attorney. And, there was lots of chit chat back and forth. And the defense attorney said loud enough for me to hear, "Can you prove it?" And I didn't hear the response. And I just saw a little shake of the head, and he said, "No questions." And he sat down, and somebody said dismissed. And I have never left a courtroom so fast as that time. I was like, I am out of here. I am done. I have done my duty. And, a couple days later, it turns out that the jury agreed that he had committed a crime. He was convicted on all of the counts of the indictment, and he went to prison.
Wow. Wow, that's wild. Oh my gosh. And why would you engrave the guy's name? That doesn't It's nervy, right? I mean, isn't that kinda I don't know. Because people think they're beyond getting caught, I guess?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
and it's interesting because he ordered the gun from a gun manufacturer and had it shipped to his house. And so, I mean, I guess they may have thought, it was it, because it was uh, the naval officer's nickname. I guess they thought we wouldn't figure out that was who it was. But that name that was engraved on it had no relationship to the naval officer.
Wow. This is interesting. Yeah. Wow. This is I don't know. I'm just blown away. You have so much better it's so much more interesting than, yeah. And, you guys, you think that accountant things are boring, but they are not. It kinda reminds me of The Firm, like, in the end, did you ever I don't know if you ever read the book or whatever. The book was better than the
Mhm,
movie, but, they caught him because of taxes and or the
mhm.
mail thing or whatever, it wasn't, but it just, you don't catch the smart way. Yeah, well, that's true. Although, you know, I don't know. I don't think this one the mistake was getting caught. Yeah. Shipped his yeah, right? I don't know. I don't know. But then I think, "Well, what would I do?" But then I wouldn't do it. So I guess there is no what would I do, because
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, yeah, inventory is boring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
there we
seems
go.
easier just to, have a job or have a business and just live a normal life. But, it could be that some of these people are just adrenaline junkies, that, it's like li they're, living a normal life doesn't, just doesn't do it for them.
Wow. How long was he sentenced? Nan wants to know.
I do not remember.
Okay.
It was quite significant.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, the book always is better than the movie. I think so too. I really do, because you can yeah, it was a way better book. I was so disappointed. I don't read a lot of that kind of books, and I really like that one. Um, okay, there we go. Yes. Alright, so what made you decide to work for the FBI in the beginning? Did the accountant
So
come
I
first or the FBI come first?
So the accountant came first,
Okay.
and I realized, through going to into my college's a career office for accountants that the FBI was looking for accountants. And I think in my generation, it was pretty common for, kids as growing up, they, thinking that they would love to work in law enforcement. And I said, why not try it? If the FBI is genuinely looking for accountants, then I should just go ahead and try it and see if it works. And it did. And I got to work there for 20 years.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm sure you saw lots of things that you cannot share with us at all. So, yeah. Oh, that's there. Your adrenaline feed was whitewater kayaking and
Yeah.
backpacking with children. Yes, whitewater rafting can be really. Yeah. Oh, you're amazing. You are amazing. This is so. And fun fact, you guys, we met on another live. Penny and I met on a live for the. Wait, hold on. It's my friend Heather, but sa- I always want to call her the sassy frugal vegan, and that's not it. It's the
Savvy.
savvy, thank you, because she is sassy. The savvy frugal vegan. You guys met Heather. She's the accountant that is also like a punk rocker, and I had you guess, and they could not guess her occupation. And so we met on her show, and she was saying what she did, Penny was, and I said, "Oh my gosh, you've got to come on and talk to these people." And here she is. So yeah. All right. The accountant, that was another good one. Have you seen that? Is that the one where the
So,
guy has yeah, Dave, that's the one that
so
you'll
can I show you a picture?
Yeah.
So this is me. Th-
Oh,
This is
wow.
me, and a friend of mine um, is a photographer, a professional photographer. And I said, because the accountants are very, in my division, the accountants are very gun friendly, even though that's not part of our job. And so we had some really good shooting days, and I said, oh yeah, it'd be like the movie The Accountant. And so he used my photo to make like a movie poster from me shooting a weapon.
That is
So
awesome.
and you can tell I keep it close to me most of the time. I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I would be too. Oh my gosh. Also, I do love to shoot guns. I do. I have a good time. My dad and I used to shoot when I was a kid, and my husband is a veteran, and I always told him that I could hit a target, and I don't think he believed me, and it had been a long time since I shot, and I'm sorry, Dave. We were about equally whatever, and I think it was surprising, but yeah. And if you don't like guns, I get it because, in the wrong hands, and if you're not safe, it's a bad thing. But in the right hands and when you are safe, it's an important thing. So there we go. Yes, if you haven't seen The Accountant, you really do need to see it, especially if you have somebody. Um, I, I don't think I beat you, but we were pretty equally matched. You should see it. Yes, and then you'll know. It's Penny has Penny has a minigun in her minivan. That's yeah. Well, you'll never know. But I wouldn't want to go up against Penny, that's for sure, because I've imagined that she's that, yeah. So, okay, so then you retired from the FBI, and then what did you decide to do after that?
So, in the last few years that I was working for the FBI, they graciously allowed me the opportunity to build my own business so that I built it as a side hustle so that I would know whether it could support me when I retired from my job. And I, podcasters, so Jen and I met on Heather's live stream, but I saw you at Podfest. We never had a conversation, but I've always been familiar. You've always been familiar to me, and podcasters are my favorite type of content creator. And as I was building a business, I got these amazing um, recommendations that you should build a business serving the people that you want to spend the most time with. And for me, that was easy. I so enjoy spending time with creators. And so that's who I serve with my solo CPA firm, and I provide tax strategies so that people are able to use IRS laws to build a business that they love and take advantage of lawful tax benefits of being a business owner that are not available to people that don't own a business.
That's really cool. Yeah, see, now my dad did not follow IRS rules and, had a hefty, hefty fine. And so, I learned at a young age to definitely and here's I'm gonna put another, link to Penny's survey in the chat. So I learned at a very early age not to try to cheat the IRS, but I do enjoy teetering on my side of the line, you know, because I don't wanna cheat, but I do want to take it like, utilize the things that I can utilize. So having someone like you on my side would be very, very cool. So, yeah.
Um,
Mm.
so fun fact, logical Nico, I have seen Frank Abagnale speak in person.
Really?
Mhm.
That is
It
really
it
cool.
is true. He does continue to give presentations for the FBI.
Okay, so for those who do not know who that is, can you let us know who that is?
So there's this movie called Catch Me If You Can,
Yeah.
and Leonardo DiCaprio played the role of Frank Abagnale, who was he was an amazing con artist until he was caught by the FBI. And in the movie, the FBI agent was portrayed by Tom Hanks. And at the end of the movie, they show Frank, uh, as community service to try to pay back for some of the criminal activity that he engaged in, coming to help out the FBI. And that is absolutely true. Frank Abagnale, in reality, has helped the FBI significantly.
Very cool. Okay, Lori loves law. I don't see your question, so I'm looking for it. Oh, do you have a link for your business? If people are saying, "Hey, I would like to work with you," can you share
Oh,
that?
sure.
All right.
Yeah, I
Um,
would love to. Thank
and
you.
you can email it to me if that's easier, and I can put it up here,
Yes, thank
um,
you.
because I
Yes.
think yeah, there are several creators here in the audience, and so that would be really cool. Yeah, Lori loves
Thank
law.
you.
Do you have we answered your question? If we haven't answered your question, can you ask it again? Because we have had 371 comments in not even an hour, and so, yeah, we definitely, all right. Well, I got a thing from Best Buy saying they're, updating their privacy policy. You know, I've wanted to have a podcast for people who can't sleep where I read things like privacy policies and terms of service because I feel like that would put anybody to sleep. Also, another fun fact, the Insta360 camera, when you that because I like to read the privacy policy because I'm a privacy person, and you have to say that you agree that anything that you film is acceptable and will be seen by the Chinese government. Don't believe me? Read the policy. It's a thing, and I've talked to other people who have that camera, and they're like, "That's not in there." It is a thing. So, all right, are you like the FBI's version of Jack Reacher? Or were you? I guess you wouldn't be. And that may not be something you could answer, even if you're not still working there. So, how do you ask properly? Just, put it in the chat? Um, oh, wait, let's see. Hmm. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading the, oh, yeah, that was the question. Okay, if you're like the FBI's okay.
So yeah, so funny because I mean that's an appropriate question. My husband and I are huge fans of the Jack Reacher books, and we listen to them on audio when we're driving around, and that's what Reacher does. I mean, he's all over the country. Um, but I don't get involved in solving crimes anymore.
Well, I feel like you've done your your duty doing that. That is amazing. That is so amazing. All right. Anybody have any questions? We have 10 minutes left. And Jack Ryan, not Reacher. That's okay. We know. Yeah. Reacher is also an awesome show. Yeah. I can't watch anything with violence. I'm a wimp. I really am. Or anything against children.
So
I cannot.
yeah, I because of stuff that cases that we're not talking about in this live stream, I worked a lot of crime scenes where the children were the victims, and I have to be much more careful about things that I see and hear, in order to protect myself, because I have PTSD from that. So
Oh, I'll bet.
and
Yeah.
and that's not, it's not part of being a forensic accountant for the FBI. It's only because I volunteered to be on the evidence response team that I was exposed to things that it's difficult for your mind to process those things.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah, I can't imagine. Nan wants to know, have you ever worried about your safety afterwards?
No, not at all. No. Thank you for asking, though.
Yeah, yeah, Victoria. I know. Dave wishes I would, because I can't watch much of anything. I'm silly that way. But I can watch some court. Not all court though. I can't watch, yeah. Anyway, but it is what it is. Okay. Victoria's got a question. Due to your line of work, have you to seek therapy? Now that may be something you don't want to answer either, but
So I have no problem doing that. And thankfully, the FBI has a entire division where they provide support to people who have seen the types of things that I've seen, because just like the military was going through and they probably still are, a time where there were a lot of suicides. The FBI wanted to make sure that they were supporting people as much as possible, and so they have a program called the Post Critical Incident seminar, where they help you understand that going forward, there are things that you should try to do to protect yourself from, having things pop up from, your past in your future, and they help you learn. The hardest thing for me was to learn how to say when I was having trouble with something, to not traumatize the people I needed to talk to about what was actually happening.
well, that's interesting. Somebody would like to know about Jimmy Hoffa.
Me too.
That's so
Oh, you
funny.
must be of the same age as I am.
That's funny. Well, yeah, there's a lot of us that are around this age. All right, so, is there one unsolved case that crosses your mind that you could talk about?
Well, I am such a big podcaster. I want to know where Maura Murray is. So,
Alright.
remember the very beginning of, crime podcasting, right before COVID, they were, what happened to Maura Murray was, a big thing. Somewhere in the Northeast, I think it was in the wintertime, she, her car was discovered, and I don't believe they've ever figured out what happened to her, whether she walked off or, it did. So DB Cooper, that's a good one. That's another good one. See, we're all of the same age. We
Yeah.
remember these crazy, they thought he jumped out of a plane with $1 million, right?
Thank you, Michael, for stopping by. That was really cool that you were here with us. We appreciate it. Oh, DB Cooper, who was he and where did he go? Legal Fiction wants to know.
So I don't remember the full story, but I it was somewhere in the West Coast, and they thought that he jumped out of a commercial airliner, and they weren't sure whether he survived or not, and, there's always a story about, could he what it's like the escape from Alcatraz, if he survived, is it possible that he could have survived, jumping out of a commercial airliner at cruising altitude?
Wow, yeah, I mean, you couldn't really survive I don't think you could survive that, could you? Yeah. Yeah, no, Victoria, I know that's the thing, you can't just talk to everybody about what you're going through either, There would just be yeah. He's still alive, folks, somewhere in Washington. Legal fiction
Washington, yeah.
Cooper. There you go. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. Well, we have 5 more minutes left. If you have a question, feel free to ask. And I think what you're doing now is really exciting. A lot of the newer people have not heard um, what you do, which I think is really cool.
Oh, thanks for this opportunity to talk about it again. So I am a tax strategist for creators. Anybody that has an online business where they're creating, digital creator, YouTuber, content creator, anything like that. And I'm specifically looking to help mamapreneurs, moms that own businesses, use their business to create a financial legacy for their children. There are special rules that allow moms and dads. Dads are included just as well. It's just that I tend to focus on the moms because they're the ones who want to. More likely than not, they're the ones that are trying to build up a financial legacy for their children. And there are special rules that allow it, parents who own a company to employ their child to work in their business earlier than they would be allowed to work for another business. And there are a number of tax benefits that are allowed. And there's so much learning. There's so much personal finance. There's so much financial literacy that the children learned. There's so much about the legacy of possibly carrying on the business of the mom. And I'm in the process of collecting information, and I have a survey that Jen is so graciously shared with you. And I'm hoping to get, it's only a 3-minute survey. I'm hoping to get 100 moms who are business owners to just fill out my quick survey and give me an idea of some stumbling blocks that are preventing you from hiring your children if you'd like to. And then I'll actually use that information to create a service to make sure that I'm, basing my service on, actual stumbling blocks that moms are facing.
All right. And yeah, Laura, you can totally do the survey after the show. You can do it tomorrow if you want to. But it's just there. The links are there. So if you want them, you can get them. And yeah, because I think, if you're if you need an accountant, I think know that she's qualified to do the things. That's been proven. All right, look at this, Victoria. It's all locked up under your cat's names. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, you guys, this has been amazing. Penny, I just want to say thank you. This has been above and beyond anything that I thought it was going to be. You are phenomenal.
Oh,
So thank you for sharing
thank
your stuff. And
you.
thank you everyone for coming and joining us. And you all have just made it. I can't say enough. I love podcasting. It is the thing that I started with. But you know, 449 comments in the chat today in an hour I mean, I haven't got that in 10 years of being in creator. So, yeah, thank you so much. Aw, Dave, thank you. That is so sweet. You guys, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe on your way out and share the show with somebody that you think would like it because, yeah, we've got some other interesting people coming up. Penny may be coming back. You never know. She might have good stories. So, yeah, and thank you again. Let her know what you thought in the chat because it's always good to get feedback and hear the good things. So I'll tell you right now, you are amazing. So Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. So
Thank
we're hearing
you.
from Tokyo, in Tokyo. He enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing. Oh, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Penny. You're amazing.
Thank
It's
you.
10, so have a great night. And just so you know, in 2 weeks, I am moving to the 7 o'clock slot. I know that's when Biggin goes. I'm not competing with Biggin. He does body cam footage. If you want to watch that, watch that. And I will be here for the people that don't watch that, and that's okay. And because my family needs me to my kids need me to put them to bed. That's how it is. So I'm just giving everybody a warning in 2 weeks. That's where we're going to be. And then we'll go raid the people that go at 8. And
Mm.
yeah, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Penny. I know I've said that a million times. I love you all.
Thank you.
Mwah. Have a phenomenal night, and I'll see you all on Monday if we don't talk in the Discord before. So feel free to jump in Discord.